And now, another of our war correspondents, Ruslan Yarmolyuk, is joining us live from Donetsk region. And the reason for this live connection is alarming. Ruslan's team was working in Kostiantynivka, and this important logistical hub for our troops is now being shelled by the Russians so intensely that even our colleagues came under fire. They're alive, though concussed. That's what I found out just before going on air. I'll ask for more details right now. Ruslan, congratulations. I don't see it yet. I can already see it.
Congratulations.
First of all, how are you as a cameraman? I know there were cuts. How did it happen?
Greetings, Alo. In fact, we are unharmed, thank God, although we still don't understand how it happened that we didn't receive serious injuries, because we were very close to the epicenter of the explosion. We had been working in Kostiantynivka since early morning, filming local residents in different neighborhoods, and decided to move to another location in a private sector, where we wanted to shoot a church that had been destroyed by a Russian artillery shell. As soon as we parked the car, as soon as we opened the doors, as soon as we set foot on the ground, the first explosion went off. You can actually see right now how it happened, what it looked like.
Is the door okay?
Seems like it, yeah.
Get in the car and let's get the hell out of here.
In the car, Razik. Come on, come on. Get out, get out.
Actually, we found out later in the afternoon that during that airstrike, 2 people were killed who were on the same street as us. And another person was seriously injured. In fact, the situation with the glide bombs is becoming more and more alarming because every day several guided aerial bombs hit the city and they don't choose their targets, they just fall in different neighborhoods and there are no military targets where they strike. It's mostly civilians who are suffering, those who are still in the city.
Ruslanchik, thank God you stopped in time and didn't make it to that place. We offer our condolences to the families of all those who died. So, what else did you see in Kostiantynivka? How many people are still left in the city under these attacks? And what are our soldiers saying? Will they be able to hold the city?
Yes, the city is now, let's say, living under constant shelling. There are a lot of houses that have been completely destroyed. It's hard to say in percentage terms how much has been destroyed and how much has just been damaged. What we saw was striking because we didn't see a single building that was intact. There are still about 9,000 people remaining in the city. And what's more, many of the people we spoke to said they have nowhere to go and no means to leave, so they're left alone with the war. These are mostly pensioners. Also, quite a few people, strangely enough, have returned after spending several years in the rear. They say they've run out of money and are forced to return to Kostiantynivka. The city goes on with its life, even though it's under constant shelling, and there's practically no electricity or water anywhere. Another significant reason for the persistent Russian strikes on the city actually lies in the undeniable fact that this particular city serves as a crucial logistical hub for our military forces, and regrettably, the enemy does not carefully choose its targets. They simply indiscriminately drop bombs on the innocent heads of civilians. Here is a direct quote from the press officer of the 24th Mechanized Brigade.
They try to strike at our rear positions, but since they operate without regard for the fact that there are civilians here, these airstrikes, as we've seen, are prepared in just 5 minutes. So, it wasn't aimed at us specifically, it was planned, and obviously, they had picked out some targets for themselves.
Thank you for finding the strength to join us, because I understand that after a concussion, it's obviously difficult. We are worried about you. But our viewers know that journalists are taking risks too. May God protect you, our defenders, and the residents of Kostiantynivka. And we look forward to seeing you in Kiev. TSN war correspondent Ruslan Yarmolyuk and his cameraman Mykhailo Putyata. He's currently behind the scenes, reporting from Kostiantynivka in Donetsk region, where today it was truly a miracle that saved them. Russian troops are already just 20 kilometers from Sumy. Our war correspondent Andriy Tsaplyenko spoke with our defenders there, and now he'll explain why they are confident that the Muscovites won't be able to capture Sumy. And also, in this episode, we want to help the Rubish Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. The tactical groups of the brigade are also operating in the hottest spots on the front, particularly in the Pokrovsk direction. And to effectively destroy the enemy, they desperately need electronic warfare protection. That's why our 10, 20, or even 100 hryvnias sent via this QR code will protect our soldiers, and therefore, all of us. Thank you.
June has become one of the worst months for Ukrainian defense since the beginning of the year. The Russian strategic offensive continues. According to analysts, over the past month, the Russians have occupied several hundred square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. At the same time, the overall rate of Russian losses is decreasing. And that's bad news, because it means the enemy is adapting to Ukrainian combat tactics. The good news, alongside the lost territories, there are also settlements that have been recaptured. The enemy was unable to gain a foothold in Dakhny on the administrative border of Dnipropetrovsk region, and in Sumy region, the enemy was driven out of Andrivka, where assault troops of the 30th Regiment of the occupying army had entered while advancing on Sumy.
We are doing everything possible to prevent the enemy from reaching Sumy.
Ola Shiriev, commander of the 225th Assault Regiment. The unit, which was still a battalion at the time, made a strong name for itself during the Kursk operation. It broke through the lines, advanced forward, took prisoners, and expanded its fleet with captured armored vehicles. The 225th Battalion was transformed into a separate regiment to carry out extremely difficult missions, when it is necessary to save the situation and assault a much stronger enemy. In Andrivka, the regiment accomplished its mission.
As a result of the Kursk operation, the enemy was really wiped out. The units that are now advancing on Sumy have been wiped out 4 times. This can be said about the 155th Brigade, the 76th Pskov Division, which is now advancing on Mykhailo.
The situation in Andrivka could have become critical for Sumy. It's 20 kilometers to the regional center, within artillery range. A Russian battalion command post had already been set up in the village. Its commander, Andrei Yartsev, was there as well. The command post was destroyed, the battalion was cleared out, and according to intelligence, the commander was eliminated. But beyond Andrivka lies another occupied village, Kostiantynivka, from which it's much harder to drive the enemy out.
We have completely blocked all routes for the enemy, cutting off their ability to break through deeper into the Sumy region, both in the Andrivka and Kostiantynivka directions. But unfortunately, before we arrived in this direction, the enemy managed to concentrate significant forces, at least 2 battalions, in Kostiantynivka. These 2 battalions are already quite worn down. There is panic among the enemy there.
The crew of the Mstabi howitzer is covering the Ukrainian riflemen who have approached Kostiantynivka. Over the course of a day, the gun fires dozens of shells toward the enemy.
No less than 50.
Per gun.
For one gun.
Somewhere in the forests, a huge amount of other artillery is well hidden. We don't see it, we only hear how hard the Ukrainian artillery is working in the direction of Kostiantynivka. The guys are firing at enemy positions beyond the village of Andrivka. This is already Ukrainian territory. They are convinced that the Russians have plans to advance on Sumy.
The enemy is aiming to take Sumy. You can see it, but it's unreal. Maybe it will be possible in about 20 years, but definitely not now.
Well, do you think they're ready to fight for 20 years?
Well, I don't know. I was just speaking figuratively, 20 years. But that they're aiming to take Sumy, well, that's for sure.
To prevent this from happening, the regiment forces the enemy into counterattacks. The weather changes, it starts to rain, and the cannons from different positions begin to pound one spot at the same time.
The task now is to aim and support our assault operations. Our task now is to suppress the enemy.
Counterattack and so on. The downpour interferes with the enemy drones, so somewhere behind Andrivka, the regiment makes its way forward. Gun. While it's raining, while it's bad weather, the guys are seizing the moment. Our guys went on the counteroffensive and the artillery of the 225th Regiment is supporting them. The work of an artilleryman is hard and exhausting. How did it go?
Fine, excellent. The gun weighs 7 tons. Well, under the body armor, of course, we took a bit of a hit.
But it's much harder for the assault troops right now. The wounded from Andrivka are first brought here, to the regimental command post near the front line.
At first glance, it looks all clear here.
Evacuation is always a risk. Drones constantly attack evacuation vehicles. And so the wounded soldiers wait until the rain and clouds clear the sky of drones. This guy with a wounded arm waited 8 days for his chance.
Shrapnel, just bone fragments themselves. They performed a transport mobilization, meaning he was taken to a specialized facility, had an X-ray examination, and now they'll heal the wounds, and later decide how to fix the humerus.
It will either be a plate or some other kind of fixator.
There isn't much space, but everything necessary to stabilize the wounded is here. Sometimes, it's these frontline doctors who determine whether an assault trooper has a chance to survive. This fighter's leg was saved from amputation because of poor quality first aid at the position. It happens.
Fortunately, the tourniquet was ineffective, so there was enough blood flow to the limb. In this case, the poorly applied tourniquet actually worked in his favor. Can you hear me? Sasha, you're in the hospital. Pigs everywhere. Can you hear me?
Here, lying on a bed in the stabilization point, the wounded man is asking to be sent back to the front line, to his guys, because they can't manage without him.
I don't want to be alone. I want to be where my city is. He'll manage, he'll handle it without me. It's all good.
It seems like the spirit of these people is stronger than their battered bodies.
Our guys are doing great. They're really giving them a hard time over there. Well, there are 2 or 3 left. Maybe they can still hide somewhere over there, like swamp frogs. But our guys are getting to them. They're taking care of them.
In the near future, the regiment expects to reduce the number of losses, at least from drones. The commander claims that the unit is working on designing uniforms with Kevlar and fiber fabric elements. Without affecting the soldiers' mobility, such special clothing will be able to protect him better from shrapnel, Major Shiriev expects. But the enemy in the Sumy direction is also becoming more inventive and dangerous. The 225th Regiment eliminated a sabotage group that had penetrated as far as 5 kilometers beyond the front line. The serious training of Russian saboteurs is evidenced by a unique trophy that was captured, a hybrid of a cold weapon and a firearm. The regiment commander, who is knowledgeable in knife fighting, admits he had only read about such a weapon in books.
A knife that shoots. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever seen something like that. It fires silently.
A special round is loaded into the handle.
This mechanism here is the safety, and this one is the trigger. It's for silent elimination and carrying out sabotage behind enemy lines.
The attempt by saboteurs to break through this deep is yet another sign of Putin's plans to reach Sumy, plans that, for now, are unrealistic. They promise in 225.
Who else, if not 225?
225 is holding the line. Well, it's almost impossible for the enemy to do that, because we've already wiped out a couple of enemy battalions here. Our colleagues from our regiment have already taken back Andrivka, and now they're retaking Oleksivka. They're preparing an incubator there. They're preparing death in the incubator. But as they say, welcome to Ukraine. Yeah, everyone is waiting. Everyone will stay here.
However, heroism at the front has to be shown where the rear remained indifferent. In private conversations with journalists, soldiers from different units say they haven't seen quality fortifications that, over half a year of the Kursk operation, civilian contractors could have built in the north of Sumy region. Then the soldiers wouldn't have had to shed so much blood and sweat. And there would be fewer lost kilometers on the war map. Andriy Tsaplienko, Ilya Shinkarenko, Serhiy Profilov, TSN Week, 1+1, Marathon, United News.